welcome to this beautiful rainy Wednesday, at least here in Campinas. Today you're gonna love this conversation. Have you ever had a creativity block or anything like that? So I'm here with Veridiana. We're gonna have an amazing conversation about multitasking, creativity, and inspiration. But right after our podcast intro. Hello, Veridiana, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
You have a beautiful name, by the way. Do you know the meaning of your name?
Yes, it's a person who is truthful.
Yes, but not only truthful, you have like a divine truth.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know about the divine
the Diana part. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and you see, I was telling them I'm gonna ask this question, and they say, "Oh no, what is the meaning?" And I would say, "I have no idea," and then people would laugh, and then I will come up. But you see, we're doing this live, so you cannot control everything.
My mom put very much thought into my name.
No, it's a beautiful one. Well, before we start, please introduce yourself to us.
Alright, hello guys, my name is Veridiana. I am 24 years old, I forget about that sometimes. I am a multitask person. I am a teacher, an English teacher. I sing, I write poems, stories, I play lots of different instruments, and that's pretty much about my life.
Okay, whenever I have a guest that, that stand us up, I'm gonna invite you to come here and we can pretend we're doing for the first time. Oh, we're here to talk about music. And then another day, oh, you're here to talk about being an English teacher. Oh, we're here to talk about, I don't know, whatever topic. I normally ask people, the English teachers, what's your story? How did you learn English? You have a very interesting aspect about it. You taught yourself how to speak English.
Yes, exactly. I taught myself to read when I was 4.
To read?
Yes.
What the? How?
My mom is a teacher, my aunt is a teacher, and my grandmother is a nurse. So they're all very intelligent women, and they put I had a little table in a wall, and my grandmother had this huge ABC printed, and she put it on the wall, and she said, "Let's learn how to read." And I said, "Okay." And then she kept reading stories to me, and one day I said, "I don't want you to help me anymore. I want to read Turma da Mônica by myself." And my mother and my grandmother were like, "Okay," and let me there. And one day we were in the car, and I started reading all the places, and I said, "Magazine Luiza, isn't that, Grandma?" And my mom almost hit the car and everything.
Proud.
Yes.
What just happened here?
Yes, exactly. So when I learned how to read by myself, it was a very powerful thing.
It is like 6. A superpower.
Yes, I was 6 when I saw Hannah Montana on TV, and it was dubbed, so she was singing in English in my head and speaking Portuguese.
Yeah, because they didn't dub the sing. Okay.
And then I said to my mom, "I want to be like Hannah Montana. If she can sing in English and speak Portuguese, I can too. I'm going to learn how to speak English." And then I started looking at video clips and trying to listen to interviews. I was 6.
Damn.
And I started learning, and then when I was 12, one of my mom's friend was an English teacher, and he came up for the first time, I think, at our place, and he was like, "So your mom said you are learning how to speak English."
You said, "Do you need some tips?"
I said, "No." I was very humble. I thought, I don't know how to speak English.
Okay.
And then I said, "Yes." And then I was actually studying at the time, and he said, "Why are you looking at translations of this song?" And I said, "Well, I don't know." And he said, "Do you really? Just turn off the translation and translate to me what is going on in the screen." And I translated everything perfectly, and he said, "There, you know how to speak English, you just don't have enough confidence to say you do." So yes, the story was basically learning with music and books and movies.
Okay, so right here, we already have our first cut of today's episode. You, a student, that gives me a lot of headache. Like, oh my God, I don't know how to speak English. How do you want me to speak English without translating? It's the same way you learned your mother tongue language. You learn Portuguese like this, and it is something that happens to you. Facial expressions,
Exactly.
the sounds, the context.
I always tell the students when they are like nervous or when they ask for tips, I always say, guys, how did you learn how to speak Portuguese? Your mother got a pen and she put in your face and said, pen. And we're like, oh, it's the same thing with English.
Yeah, it is.
It's the same thing.
And when adults now, when they travel to other countries, it's very common you have those Brazilian students that say something like this, oh, I went with the courage in my face, they say something like this. And they didn't have a clue about the language, no grammar structure whatsoever. They knew how to say hello and pizza, maybe. After 1 year, they come back or advanced or fluent.
Yes.
But they go through a lot of mishappenings and awkward situations. Yes, they do, but they learn. So
exactly.
I was picking up something while you were describing this story to me. You had an amazing family, because a lot of people they have their creativity destroyed because the parents or the close peers they have, they don't incentivate, or they say, oh no, don't do this, do that. It was the opposite to you, right?
Yes.
They were supportive and...
Yes, my mom always told me one thing that she repeats all the time when I feel in doubt about my capacity to do things. She said, did I give birth to you and were you square? No, you were round, so you can turn yourself around and figure it out.
That's a nice one.
She always said, you can do anything you would like to do. You can learn anything you want to learn, and you have the capacity to do it. So yes, incentive was never a problem for me. I'm very privileged to say that.
Nice.
Maybe my family didn't have the resources for example, private classes, things like that. But everything that was in hand and they had the possibility to give to me and help me with, they would.
Yeah, I guess this is for parents watching us here. It goes back to what we were talking before about paying attention. Sometimes they create like this life script they want for their kids. They don't listen or see what the kid is doing. What are the things that make the kids smile and shine, something like that. So since you were very young, you had this urge to do things on your own. Have you ever got in trouble because of this? Like, I don't know, you saw a mechanic and said, I'm gonna do this too, or I don't know, because children, they're curious, right?
I was actually a very quiet child. I had lots of toys. I was very spoiled with toys, I have to admit that. So I would... How can I say this? How can I put this? I would make myself busy creating things. Like I would create stories and I would have a very vivid imagination. Or if I was bored, tired by playing, I would see what my grandmother was doing. Maybe she was sewing, maybe she was cooking, maybe I would see what my grandfather was watching, maybe see what my mom and my aunt were studying for their next class. So I was the type of child that would learn by looking and staring,
And eventually you'll try to do by yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, nice. Have you ever had any trouble when you started school because you had this urge to learn things by yourself?
Yes.
And unfortunately in Brazil, I don't know if I agree with that, but some schools they have this approach that is not for everyone. Some children don't adapt and they say, oh, you are lazy, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes it's not, it's just the approach. How did you feel, Veridiana, when you went to school?
When I started school, everything was okay because I was feeling amazing. I knew how to read, I knew how to write my own name. The other kids my age didn't know yet.
They were probably very angry, like, oh my God, how dare you to be so smart.
A boy stole my homework.
Really?
Yeah, he put his name. I didn't put my name yet, and he stole my homework.
Oh, do you remember his name? If you're watching this, say sorry.
No, I don't. But I went to the bathroom, and when I came back, I was going to deliver my paper to the teacher, and she said, "Is everything wrong?" And it was, in fact. Like the word clock with the picture of the clock, it was wrong. It was in the fridge, and I kept looking. I was astonished. I said, "This is not mine. I don't write like that. My writing is pretty, teacher."
I can do this right now if you want.
Yes, but she didn't believe me.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but the biggest issue I had, I remember, it was around maybe the fourth grade. Because I would learn things and then I would not want to repeat them. For example, I would learn history and I would learn Portuguese rules, and I didn't want to do the homework. And the teachers would want me to do the homework, and there was this teacher who would purposely mistake my name. She would call me Veronica. I hated her. And
what was her name?
I don't remember. You see how much I hated her?
No.
I don't even remember her name.
If you remember her name, I would just mispronounce it live, but okay, no problem.
And my mom said, "Well, stop attending to her. It's not your name." So that's what I did, and she kept repeating. But she would give me 4 in tests because I wouldn't do homework. Even if I had everything right in the test, she would give me 4. Because... Okay. That are her words. 4 is worse than a 0 because it means you couldn't get 5. She would say that in front of everyone. And I would be there staring at her like, but everything is right. And then my mom went to talk to her, and she said, "Oh, she doesn't do the homework." And that's pretty much my life. I despised homework.
This is okay. A lot of students watching, they are on the same page that you are. But this is jokes aside, this is actually a serious education problem in Brazil. Like people are. They follow manuals, scripts, and like, okay, if you haven't done, what's the purpose of a homework? To practice.
Exactly.
Like if you're having trouble remembering the content of the class, you practice at home, and okay, voila. You are not having trouble, so what's the point?
I was remembering everything perfectly. So that didn't make sense in my head because that was exactly why. I always knew the way I had to study. I knew that I had to read, memorize, repeat so my brain could keep the information, and then I could move on to the next topic. And being forced to do the same thing that I already knew
was frustrating
because it had no point for me. I wasn't seeing why. As kids we think, why do I need to do this? I already know this. There's no point. I don't need to prove myself to the teacher. My mom says I'm intelligent.
Yeah, but she was right. Have you ever had a teacher that was quite the opposite and helped you to even grow more or use your natural skills in your favor? Like, oh my God, you are awesome. Keep doing this.
Yes. My high school teachers.
Nice.
I went to a 9-hour high school. It was a public school project. So, when it was starting? And there I found amazing teachers. I had some amazing teachers who would see my talent to do things, and they would say, "This is great. Here's how you can do this." Or even my Portuguese teacher, she would try to make me write more. The problem was because it was homework.
Ah, come on.
I was already 9 hours at school.
Okay.
It was tiring, but then I would do it while in the school, in the free time.
Which was flexible in a way.
Yes, so I had some time and I would do the best I could. But yes, for example, my tutor was Islin. She was an amazing teacher.
Say the name again, please.
Islin.
Islin?
Yes.
Okay, shout out to you, Islin. Thanks for not killing Veridiana's creativity here.
This is very interesting, the part you said about killing creativity, because I stopped the graduation, but I was graduating in music. And one thing about being a music teacher is when you go into the college, one of the first things you learn is there is a difference in musicians and artists. The musician is the artist that died. Because
they teach,
yes.
go to an orchestra.
Yes,
Okay.
because not only like that because of that, but because sometimes you are so obsessed with perfection, and musicians are very obsessed with perfection. And you are so obsessed with perfection, you lose the meaning of the emotions behind the music. Some people can balance that.
It looks like an AI prepared a composer and wrote the song. Yeah.
And then you have artists. It was an important thing for the school to teach how to not kill artists. You can have artists in all the topics of life. Maybe a writer, maybe an engineer can be an artist, maybe a programmer can be an artist. It all depends on the passion and the freedom they do things. So it is very important to not kill the passion of the child so that she will, keep on with their art and what they see as good in life.
I'm thinking here, is it possible to apply this creativity, love, and like the way you direct your emotions, even if it's your job?
Of course. Of course.
For example, a lot of people do this, you have the saying, like, if you work with something you love, you will hate the thing, something like that.
I think it's all about balance, honestly, because if you can find a way to have boundaries. For example, I know nothing about programming, but I will give it as an example. If you love programming, you will do this every day of your life. You will get tired if you do it at home too. So take a break. Do something completely different that you won't even think about, and then in the next day you will feel better to do what you have been doing, because you get tired. You get tired of things you love too. Some people feel guilt about it. I have been tired sometimes about music when I didn't have this balance, so I stopped making music for a long period of time until I understand, I'm asking too much of myself. I'm doing this every day, like 4 hours a day. I'm studying for college, I'm working all at the same time. Yes, and I started a second graduation with that. So I said, no, I had to stop something so I can focus on other things, and then I can get back to it. Otherwise, it will be too much for me.
Yeah, you will get yourself overwhelmed, and sometimes you will imagine, the thing is not fun anymore. No, it's because you're tired. So, for everybody that is watching us and needs creativity in order to work or study, the first tip would be take a break sometimes.
Exactly. Take a break sometimes. And one sentence that I like is, you don't need inspiration to do things, okay? You can do yourself. You can be yourself your own inspiration, motivation to do things. That's all you need, your motivation and creativity, depending on yourself, sometimes you can write about things you see on the street.
No, the two birds story that you told me was very nice. Yeah, we can go there. All right, let me take a look at the chat. Hello, everyone. Hello, Fami. Good evening, everyone. Okay, this is from Times. Okay, one question from Fami or Fami. Sorry if I'm misspelling this. Okay, what's the worst advice you've ever gotten when you were starting learning English? Okay, the worst advice, like translate or read a dictionary. I don't know, something.
Yes, read a dictionary is the basic worst advice ever, because you get all words, no context, and then what do you do with this vocabulary?
Okay, if you read a dictionary from top to bottom, every other book is just a remix.
Oh no. Oh no. But yes, unfortunately you're right.
Imagine the memory of the person. I know what's happening here. But yeah, that's
read a dictionary, and let me think. I think the worst advice I've ever gotten was to try to translate things. I think more important than you being able to translate things to say that you are fluent is being able to understand things. Sometimes you think, I can understand this, but I cannot translate this. I'm not fluent. No, you are fluent. if you can speak properly, if people can comprehend what you're saying, and if you can communicate and you can understand what other people are saying, you are having a conversation. You know, it's not everything about rules. Of course, you need proper grammar to know how to speak properly, but you don't need to translate everything.
One thing that when it clicked, it got me like, whoa, that's true. First, we learn how to speak and to communicate, but no one has ever, not even once, not even one little time in their lives, before you speak your mother language, you say something like, I'm going to use a third person non-transitive verb. You just use it. Eventually you learn, so this that I normally use is this grammar structure. It's spontaneous. You kind of incorporate the grammar in your speech that is already flowing, already happening. So remember this, students. First focus in communicating. Eventually we remember the irregular verbs, how to properly use reported speech, passive voice, all of those grammar structures that you guys love.
Experience in life takes you far, because it's like the example we were talking before. Like, your mom puts the things in your face and say their names. And then you start saying. And if it's wrong, she will repeat it correctly. And then you will start to say it correctly. It's the same thing. And
eventually, the person start correcting themselves. For example, if you are talking, this is more big. This is bigger. The is normal. Is spontaneous. So I guess specifically about learning English, a lot of students, they try to force themselves to speak in terms of grammar correctly, and they miss the point that is communicating first. One more here. Okay, Bruni is saying here, that's a lot. I guess it was when you were listening everything you do. And there's more to come. Okay, she said here, I agree, Fami. Let's not translate. All right. When you were starting to learn different things, Veridiana, it feels like you have a sort of a superpower. This is not something trivial, common. It's not very normal for people to do this. Do you think this is something that people can develop? For example, is there a way that, for example, I want to be better in teaching myself to do stuff? What would you say?
First of all, being self-taught is being different. We have, of course, the nature of the body, but it's not something you can become. You can't become self-taught. You were born like that, but you can mimic. I always say that because it's when you are self-taught, for me at least, it looks like I have I have the path to learning. You know, I know what I need to do instinctively. So if you know what to do instinctively, maybe if I know consciously what I need to do, then I can mimic this ability. So it is important to submerge yourself into what you are trying to learn, you know. And one of the most important things is to never quit it. Because it is sometimes, for example, with English, I would get frustrated because I couldn't say a word, and I would practice looking in the mirror when I was brushing my hair when I was a child. I would practice like I was in an interview, you know, those Vogue interviews, they show the house all around. I would practice like that to say the furniture, vocabulary, and sometimes I wouldn't know a word. So I would go running to a dictionary, and I would try to find a word in English. I would find it, go back to the mirror, and keep brushing my hair like nothing happened.
So you were like role-playing the situation before. So a lot of the things you do, you are practicing the fundamentals that people do when they have a tutor and they're trying to use like communicative approach, PBL, this type of stuff. But you did with your instinct, with your gut, like instinctively. That's beautiful. You mentioned about musical instruments, right? right? Let's go there again. How many of them do you play?
I play 3 or 4 if you go technical.
Okay.
I can play the electric guitar, I can play the guitar, a little bit of the keyboard, and I can sing. That's the 4th.
Okay, nice. So, when you started learning, how was the experience when you first wrote a song, or you did something like, okay, I have this skill? Because one thing, for example, happened to me. I had a band, and I hated to play covers, you know. And it's normal from every band that is starting, you start playing a lot of covers, and then eventually you get a gig here, you have a small concert there. But I wanted to write my own songs, and I saw music like that, you know. When we first had a song that a few people knew at the concert, and they said, "Oh, play that one." So, "Oh, they want to listen to our song, guys! It's happening. We're gonna be famous," you know. But it was a very nice feeling. I don't know if it's only ego, but I don't see like that. I see like a genuine connection that you have with the person. So, when was it the first time that you wrote something, you composed something? In music?
In music, I started with the guitar. My grandmother bought me acoustic guitar when I was 15. I was in school because we had these like clubs. So we had the music club. We didn't have teachers. We were just a bunch of teenagers.
Really?
Yes.
Looks
trying
like a
to
fun
do
club.
something. It was. So it was like
High
2
School
hours.
Musical without Jack Black.
Exactly. So we would go in there, and we had like groups. This group is playing gospel music. This one is playing heavy rock.
Amazing.
And there's another
in the same place.
Yes, all in
like,
the same
glory,
classroom.
Glory, hallelujah, and then Ready Blood.
Exactly that. The other corner was playing like Gustavo Lima.
Yeah, because they were neutral.
Yes, and then I would stay in the door like, oh my god, I don't fit with any of these people. What do I do? So I just sat there with my guitar and I would try to learn the chords. I remember repeating so much, all the chords, trying to memorize the position of the fingers, trying to memorize everything. And the first time I actually wrote a song, I remember that I was feeling very sad. Don't ask me why exactly. Just teenager blues.
Yeah. Hormones all over the place.
Crying all the time.
Oh my god, I remember now. A good thing I didn't use I feel old, because when I was a teenager, the internet was not a thing. It was in the 2000, 2001.
No, unfortunately, when I was a teenager, we even had Spotify.
Yeah.
So I would
I
plug
could embarrass myself on the internet at that time. So
I was shy, so I wouldn't. But I would plug in my earphones, put on a hoodie, and be crying.
Wait. Were you emo, Veridiana?
No, I wasn't.
Goth?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
For lack of opportunity.
Okay.
Alright. But yeah, when I first wrote my first song, it was something more to relieve the emotions I was feeling. So I don't think at the time I realized later, like, oh my god, I put together a set of chords and I sang something above it, you know. And I would also play with some friends. I had a friend that I would call him my musical soulmate, because he would start playing and I would have all these ideas and sing with him. It's amazing when this happens.
If you were Bon Jovi, he would be your somebody.
Yes, exactly. And then I would stop and he would stop at the same time.
Yeah,
it was like we had practice, but we never did.
Oh, it's amazing when you find somebody like that matches. I had a friend like that. I mean, he's alive, but we don't play together anymore.
Yeah, sometimes we fall off. Why does that happen?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's something like we are built in whatever essence we have is the same, and then it matches, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it ever happened to you. Once I had this dream with a melody. It was the nicest thing ever happened to me in terms of music. I was sleeping, and in the dream, and I could remember that. Very simple stuff. The song. song is on YouTube, and you can get it on Spotify. No, I'm joking, but it is there. But I'm not saying the name now, maybe. And
Maybe
then
later.
I went there, and he was this guy, similar to you, very talented. Whatever instrument that you give to him, he laid his hands on the instrument. Could be a percussion, could be string, keyboard. He would do like a dun dun dun.
Yes.
Say that again, Mike. I went boom 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 boom, and he was like dun, dun. It's something like this. Ding ding ding. It's like what the hell? And then we composed. We wrote the song together. Oh my God. It was beautiful. Have you ever had some? You mentioned something when you were like doing the dishes and you had to write something.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
I have many ideas when I am washing dishes. This is a situation, so I have to keep my phone closed because sometimes I'll think of a sentence, or I think of a word, and I'm like, oh, this word sounds so good.
I have a theory about that.
What does this rhyme with? And then my head says, this rhyme with that.
Oh yeah.
And then I'll start stringing ideas. Then I said, all right, now I have to stop washing dishes because I need to write this down before I forget.
Okay, so if you have a pile of dishes in your house, write a song, or a poem or whatever. So you're doing something productive with that.
It's actually amazing that I never stopped to think about writing a poem with like a metaphor about doing dishes.
Oh, okay. We could try to improvise something about that,
Mm-hmm.
You had me served well, but now you lay dirt in front of me.
And
That's
is it
not
the
a-
consequence of the acts that
Go on.
is it the consequence of the acts and the impurity of the things we consumed?
I wouldn't invite a guest for such things to see. I just had to write.
Amazing.
Oh, that was lame, my part at least. But okay, chat before we get sidetracked here. Okay, I agree. Okay. Oh, sorry, I don't play any instrument. I know a few power chords, that I used to write songs. Fami asking here. I was the singer of the band. That's why we haven't become famous,
Oh my God.
That was okay. Good question here. What's the best and the worst place to get ideas? Okay, you can go on with that.
Best and worst place to get ideas.
You mentioned. I have two places that made me very creative. And two situations actually. They are both done in the bathroom. One, I'm taking a shower.
Yes.
The other, I, doing my number 2, and then like.
It is amazing.
Really? Oh, see? So the.
It is amazing how taking a shower can solve any
I
problems
thought you
in
would say
life.
the other one. It's amazing how taking a shit makes me really.
It's amazing. Taking a dump solves everything.
But you know why? You know why? Actually, it is a theory. Whenever you are doing something physical, I would say with your hands or with your ass, but no, you are doing something that you are not. Your head is not in the future or in the past. Doing the dish, something manual. You are in the correct place, relaxed, so your cortex can be functional. So
Exactly.
the emotions and this rational, they sync up nicely.
I saw guys once say you need quiet and peace to be creative. And then I thought for a second, I'm screwed. I never have peace of mind. I never have quiet. So I said, how am I going to be creative and create things if I don't have quiet? The shower, washing dishes.
Driving sometimes.
Driving is great.
I had very nice debates while I was driving. When you start to rewind the thing, you play it over again. I could have said this. I could have said that.
Yes.
If this happens, this I can do this.
Yes.
For people that actually need to be creative and they are in a noisy place, or I don't know. I would recommend meditation. It's, you know,
Yeah.
you can try to direct your focus. I don't know if it has ever happened to you. You started thinking about something. Maybe you are in your head. You're already writing the poem, the song. Something else is going on, and you completely.
You see, the problem about this is I have no trouble with interferences from outside. What happens is I have too many things going on inside my head, and then I get lost in the middle of it. So, for example, if I can't create inside my house, I would always try to get out the house. So I will go have an ice cream, and in the ice cream parlor I will be in my phone thinking and writing, or I will go walk in the park near my house, and then I will see people doing things and try to think how must they be feeling, you know, if it's something more creative. But if it's just duties on your daily life that you can't do, I think just doing something fun alongside it. For example, put on your favorite music. If you are procrastinating, like doing laundry, put on your favorite music and
so
start
much.
dancing around the house. You will do things, you know. You'll see, oh, I can dance here because there are things on the floor, or the floor is dirty. Let me clean the floor and then I can dance. Then you start dancing. I can go there. Yeah,
this is an amazing thing, because if you can have fun doing trivial everyday chores and tasks, quality of life is going up, you know, it's getting better. All right, let me see here. I thought that I don't know if she's talking about the dirty aspect or the shower aspect of the creativity. Okay. But is the bathroom the best or the worst place for ideas? Well, I had a lot of shitty ideas there.
it is the best.
Yeah, it is good. But maybe it's the privacy and the quiet.
Yes.
If you go to a park, nice tree, birds, and nice.
For example, you can have ideas at club's bathroom, but you can't have idea at your own bathroom. Yes. Have you ever tried to think anything in a party?
Yeah.
Chaotic.
I saw a pretty girl and I imagined, what am I gonna say to her?
And did you have any ideas?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, that's
but
the
it
point.
worked. Yeah.
You tried.
Okay, yeah.
You tried. A trophy.
Yeah, okay, thank you. But that's the thing. Talking to someone, doing something, a lot of creative ideas, they come from solving problems. You know? For example, we can do this on the chat, okay? What do you think is the most creative invention ever made? You know, something like that. And when you start to imagine the creativity process involving the thing, you will start getting these funny moments, you know.
Exactly.
How somebody, I don't know, came up with a paper clip, for example.
I have no idea.
Maybe was playing with some wire there, and they're like, I'm gonna do this.
Oh, these leaves are flying.
You know,
Oh, they stopped.
you know, it's something like that. Okay, in a normal day, Veridiana, do you do anything that helps you to be creative? Like some people, they say you have to do, for example, you always take a shower or brush your teeth with your right hand. Do once, take a different path going to work, or just go and live your day again.
Oh my, do I? Let me think. I don't think I do anything. I try not to censor my head because I think lots of different things all the time. So I try to keep my thoughts as untouched as possible. And there is one thing that is one thing I started doing recently. I saw a singer on Instagram that she was doing beats in her notebook, and then she would just start singing anything that came up to her head. So she would say one word that didn't match with the other, like bananas with potatoes and pants, and then she would put this all in a song, and for some crazy
That's
moment...
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yes. And for some crazy moment, then she said, okay, this is done. Now I can think of the lyrics. So she had to do this,
For the melody.
For the melody. And I was looking so she just puts whatever in there. And I thought, maybe if I just free my mind and not think, not overthink, not be scared of, this will be bad. I try not to think this will be bad. I fail most of the times, okay? I'm not such a good example. I'm still learning.
Okay.
But yes, just mainly that. Then creativity comes naturally. Thankfully.
My process is whenever the guys from the band, they had like a nice melody going on, I would sing whatever, like gibberish, like it's round and cold,
Yes.
and Drew, and then I say, okay, now I need to create some lyrics that fit this, but it needs to mean something. Maybe it's anger, I would channel some emotion, or just think about something I want to
You
talk.
know, I think as creatives, this is the most insane part of the work when you're making music, because you turn gibberish into words, and they have to make sense, and then people say, "What were you feeling when you wrote that song?"
I have to do something here, you know.
Yes, you were thinking that. You were never like, "Oh, I was thinking about my deceased partner." Who No, maybe you were, but still you had to do gibberish before.
Yeah, and something that was interesting too that happens, a lot of the songs, they were not something specific at the time, but eventually I said, well, this actually matches this period of my life, or, you know, it came later on. Something that I don't want to forget to ask, Veridiana, how your creativity, the multitasking, how did it help you as an English teacher in terms of empathy with students and everything you told me about going to school and, okay, you have to do homework, did influence how you teach people and how you see the student?
That is a great question. Of course, it influences a lot. When I think for me, when I could see clearly the way that people learn, the learning wave, by myself, I thought, oh, so as a teacher, I have to be careful to not let my students fall into the pit that is, I can't do this now. I don't have the time, I don't have the energy.
You can too.
I hate this sentence.
Me too.
I hate this sentence. I never say, if I can do it, you can. You can't. Some people say, we all have the same 24 hours. No, sometimes you drive 15 minutes to your home in a storm, and other people take 3 hours of bus and get all soaking wet at home, and they don't want to do anything else because they spend 3 hours standing.
They're tired. Yeah.
Exactly. But oh my god, I lost my track here.
No, it's exactly this. We were talking about how we see the students and the empathy involving that.
So I see lots of students at the end of the day. I teach mornings and evenings. So at the end of the day, some students, I always try to say, hello guys, good evening, and students come like, hey teacher. I had one student one day that he was like almost sleeping, and I thought, maybe am I the problem?
Okay.
But then he was interacting, and I could see that he was genuinely very tired. So, you know, the empathy you have with students, and they all have their own realities, they all have their own difficulties, and trying to match what difficulties they can probably have with their learning wave is something that helped me so much. Because I think being creative also helps, because sometimes a student won't understand until you literally draw to them or tell them a story or fantasize a little bit, and then they will laugh and they will create a memory about that, and they will remember. Because it was funny, because it was outside what they are used to. So I think it helped me a lot.
And something that we have to remember, everybody has their own story. So if the guy is that tired in your class, it means something. He could be sleeping and he's there, you know.
He's
an adult.
his
Nobody's
best.
Forcing them,
Exactly.
you know. I had this conversation with a few teachers along the way, you know, and when we start to think about this, some teachers, they are very strict, like, oh, you got 10 minutes, 5 minutes late in my class. No. Maybe the guy has a crazy day, the bus broke during the way, and he's there, you know. So, oh, you are here. The class is 1 hour. You arrived in the last 55 minutes. It's nice that you are here. Enjoy this 5 minutes, you know?
Exactly.
And then you do the class again. But enjoy it.
My only problem with students being late is I worry about the comprehension of the content of the class. I start to wonder, like, will they understand? And if they don't, will they feel guilty about it? Because that is something I never want my students to feel guilty or feel bad that they don't understand. That just doesn't make sense. When you are learning, you do mistakes, but they are not real mistakes.
Yeah, it's part of the learning process. You have, if you're a student, you have to commit mistakes. It's
exactly.
I guess this is a challenge for adult students. They have this kind of perfectionism that they think and kids, like when you were describing the way you learned, it was beautiful. Good thing you mentioned this. Kids are they start at least when their families or teachers don't kill their creativity, but they have this kind of like free birds, I'm gonna do this. Like you said, I will do this too.
Yes.
You do this. I will do this too. Like you don't doubt your capacity.
Yes, exactly.
You just go and try. Eventually you do it,
I worked at a school that was mixed. So I had kids, I had teenagers, I had middle-aged grown-ups, I had even elderly people, and all in the same class. So sometimes I had to give an example for an elder person and another example so the youngers could understand, and sometimes it was the opposite. And I remember very clearly that it's a different thing when you see a grown-up says, teacher, I don't think I can do this, because you are used to it. But the impact when a child that is like 9 says, I can't do this, like, it's a child. You can do this. You are in the time of learning how to do this. So yes, it's all about showing the kids that they can do everything. And as a grown-up, if you didn't have that when you were younger, you can teach yourself. It's hard. It's hard to look yourself in the mirror and say, I can do this. It's not easy. Nothing is easy. I was having, I think, a class about this. The song class of the week that we were teaching at Times Amoreiras speaks about why it's so difficult to change. Because when people go into a course, they have to change their schedules, their lives. They have to fit into that. So, and a lot of students said, it's difficult to change because sometimes you have to change more than the time, but yourself too.
Yeah, it's true. And we create habits, sometimes bad ones. We need the same amount of stimulus to reverse it.
Exactly. If you grew up...
I will not say the words, but I wanted to. I will have to say the word neuroplasticity.
Oh my.
Yeah. We need this. In 8 weeks, you can start being good at anything that you put yourself through.
Exactly.
The problem is we normally don't do consistent 8 weeks of anything. Okay, we will have a Maria Gabriela moment here. Yeah,
oh my God.
I'm gonna ask you a few. No, I'm not doing the voice, but I'm gonna ask a few questions. Okay. All right. Okay, Drix, 2010. She said, "I'm so proud of you."
In English?
Yes.
It's my mother.
Shout out to you.
Hey, Mom. She doesn't speak English.
What's her name?
Her name is Adriana.
Adriana.
She's my mother.
Thank you. You have made a beautiful and smart person here. Nice. Okay. A nice question from Bruni. What's on repeat on your Spotify? And then this is one of the Marília Gabriela questions. What is your favorite music style? Schizophrenia, like Chitãozinho Chororó, and then Anitta and MC Dani, and then Iron Maiden, then Slayer. Like
I listen mostly R&B, jazz, pop.
Okay.
hip-hop.
Hence the improvisation thing you mentioned. Okay.
Yes. I like very much soul music because of the way it captures feelings, So yes, even when it's not about feelings, I just feel like it is the music that brings me more to my element. When you listen to a song and you feel yourself happy, you feel yourself confident. That's the type of music I like.
Do you have a comfort song or band or artist? And I have nothing new to listen. I go there as a safe place.
I do. do. Her name is Kelani.
Kelani? Okay.
Yes.
And what's the style?
It's R&B, it's contemporary R&B and pop. I love her music. I have been a fan since 2015, so like 10 years going strong, still a fan.
Nice.
And it's just comforting to me, you know?
Nice. Somebody said here, like Ozzy? Okay. But with a teacher like, it's impossible not to learn, to understand. Nice. With a teacher like you.
Thanks.
Nice. This is, oh, thank you. This is kind. She said that I'm a nice interviewer. Stop it. Okay, now we have a very serious moment. I want you to tell us, I don't know if people know this and they are aware, but tell us about your book. Yeah.
I have a book, guys.
Yeah.
I have a book. I wrote this, I started working on the book in 2020. It is a romance book about two women that fell in love in college. And one of them was rich and she was in a very toxic relationship with her family. And she got away from this relationship because she had money, of course, so she went to another city. And the other one had a great relationship with her family, but a terrible relationship with herself and her lover. So it's a book about finding and figuring out yourself while you're navigating life and its hardships, and also a relationship. So like figuring out how to balance all of this and being yourself and trying to be the best you can for you and other people in what you dream of. Understand? So yeah.
It's like kind of inventing every adult that has ever fell in love. You know, it happens like, oh, what am I gonna do now?
Exactly.
Is life sometimes like an RPG game? You know, you go to a stage and say, oh my god, I found the one, and then now I have to keep the one. You know?
Yes, I have to keep. What do I do?
Yeah.
And it's not only about keeping the one. I think the book also talks about like important self-view. You know, like yes, keeping the one is something, but what about your dreams? Sometimes people forget about their dreams.
Okay, I understand.
And there is one specific that one of the characters, I won't mention which one.
This spoiler.
They travel to Germany for educational purposes, and they are there for a long time. So this character is in a relationship, and it's just very difficult because different time zones, and this person is going behind their dream, and they start to think, is this person suitable for me? Who am I? I'm here in a complete different place. I can do whatever because there's nobody watching me. Who am I? So it's this part of figuring out yourself too. Who you are when you're yourself, just by yourself. There's no one watching you. You know?
Have you ever surprised yourself with something you wrote? Like, oh, I did this?
Yes, it happens sometimes.
It's a nice feeling.
Yeah, mostly in the book there's a chapter about grief, about grieving, and I wrote about the seven steps of grieving, and that surprised me a lot because it did in such a way that would tie itself, each step would tie itself to the next, and I thought at the end I said, wow, I gotta give myself a tap on the back on this one. Nice. Have some self-proud.
This, I guess, is one of the best aspects of creating stuff. Anything at all that you create, you know, or you have a collection of something like moving around, decorating your house, whatever you create. It gives this sense of accomplishment, like, oh, I've done it, it's here, you know, and then, okay, now I have to do something else, and you go there. All right, the second Maria Gabriela question is your top 3 favorite movies.
Ooh, can I say...
I would say stories, but I don't know, you go with what you want.
Okay.
People are judging us, by the way, okay, so no pressure.
I watched The Substance recently.
Oh, it's an Oscar nominee, this one, right?
It blew my mind.
Yeah.
It is an Oscar nominee.
Me too. And this was a recommendation from Marcel. Thank you, Marcel. You know, Yeah, I was kind of in awe sometimes during the movie because I thought this is a movie from this year and has so much a lot of references from the 80s. You know, so many references.
But it's also technologic at the same time. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm no Jose Wilker here. Like, oh, the movie doesn't try to take itself seriously. That why? No, not go there. But yeah, there's a lot of moments. It was on the verge of being cringy, and then I said, "Oh my god, that's amazing."
But you know, I think that was the intention.
Yeah, exactly. It's
It was supposed for people that weren't thinking while watching, they would leave the movie's theater like,
what the hell happened?
What did I just watch? And then people would think like. Not trying to give spoilers for people who didn't watch yet, but the stage scene that was amazing and completely nuts. It was completely crazy.
Yeah.
And you think, what is the purpose of having one of that scenes? It's exactly to show that this person became a monster. It no longer recognized herself so much that even saying, "Hey, I'm here," it was not being herself.
Yeah, so you have a lot of meta, language there as well. The colors and everything, and the
it's
gore.
Amazing, the colors.
Yeah. I loved. Okay, if you're a fan of classic trash horror films, you're gonna love. And if you like conceptual, symbolic, and all of these, you have that too. Okay, given the styles and proportions, I had a similar feeling when I watched the movie with Jennifer Lawrence, Mother, the one.
Oh, didn't watch that one yet.
Oh, it's gonna make you feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah,
and
it was recommended for me, but I didn't have the courage to.
Yeah, it is one of the movies, and I watched it at the movie, and I went by myself at the time, and I wanted to make friends with people. They're like, what have we just watched, witnessed? It's really symbolic, it's interesting, but okay, this is one, the substance. What else?
I would like to add a new TV show, not exactly a TV show, but in streaming in Disney. I was watching with my girlfriend. It's called High Potential.
I don't know this one.
Yeah, it's new. It's still releasing, and it's about a woman that some people would say, "Oh, this woman doesn't even know how to dress herself," but she's very intelligent, and she starts solving police crimes.
Okay.
And then she's just a cleaning lady. She goes into work one day, headphones on, listening to music, tidying up everything.
And then, it was full of.
Yes, and then she drops a box full of archives of a case, and then she picks everything up and says, "Oh, this is wrong." And then she looks at the board, "Oh, that is wrong too." She gets a pencil and just scratches onto the suspect and writes "victim." And the next day she's brought in by the police officers, and she said, "I was not trying to obstruct justice. I was just cleaning up your mess. It was wrong."
She says exactly this line?
Yes.
The cleaning lady said, "I was cleaning your..." That's a nice line.
Yes. I was making you a favor. That's it? All good? Can I go home now? She says exactly like that. And then the chief of the police puts the files on the table and says, "Explain to me what is wrong." And then she points everything that is wrong, and it's amazing how she views the world.
Would you like to work with us?
Exactly. This happens in the end of the episode, and she is actually amazing. I love this.
What's the name of the show again?
High Potential.
High Potential. Okay. And the last one, number 1 or 3.
Ooh, I'd have to say, oh my. I watch animes.
Okay, let's see what you're gonna say.
And one I've been watching is Dun Dun Dun. I know it's very popular right now, but I just found it very interesting how, Japanese people are very prudish. They don't speak bad words, and this anime has lots of bad words.
Oh, yeah.
And we have girls speaking bad words. We have a girl that thinks she's the main character. Like those teenagers on TikTok. "I'm the main character. He will fall in love with me. She is the demon." And she views the world completely different.
What's the name again?
Dun Dun Dun.
Dun Dun Dun. Okay,
yes.
It's easy to remember. I heard this one, but I haven't watched it. Okay.
I think it's very fun. it's good to take your mind off of stuff.
That's another thing that is nice to do, and it helps you to be creative
Yes,
too.
it does.
Okay, we don't need this anymore. We, unfortunately, for everybody, I hope we're doing there. We're running out of time, Veridiana. Okay, I can only ask you to do one more thing. Let's sing together. No, it's not that. But final message.
High school moment.
Yeah, to everybody watching us. And by the way, this was an amazing conversation.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand the first part of what you said. I was thinking about High School Musical. I'm so sorry.
The voice is in my final message to everyone watching.
A final message.
Yeah, not final like dreadful. Final like okay,
I'm
you're gonna die. No.
I would just like to say thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for having me. And he's losing it behind the camera.
It's because when you think about the words, everything becomes fine. A final message. It's gonna start tomorrow. Christmas. Oh my God, we need to do this on Halloween. Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
I'll zip it up.
Oh my, don't eat the paper, please. And I would also like to say, be authentic, be yourself. Losing yourself in the path is part of the process.
Yeah.
And it's the easiest thing to do, to lose yourself in the process. And the important thing is to try to recognize yourself as the person you are. And for example, if you lose yourself while trying to learn English, you can always keep in mind that everyone goes through it. Everyone has to rebuild themselves because we are learning new things, and when we are learning new things, we are evolving. And when you learn anything, just keep in mind that you will make mistakes and you'll see yourself as the worst version of yourself. But you have to get to the bottom to get to the top. So that's all I have to say.
That's beautiful. Last thing here, what's the name of your book?
Oh, it's 1,460 days of you.
Okay, say that again.
1,460 days of you.
Amazing. So when you release, you'll come back here, we talk about it.
Of course.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for that message. Yes, it was amazing.
Can I do that that poor thing people do? Kisses, mom. Kisses.
Yeah, of course. Kisses, Dri.
Bruni is my girlfriend, actually.
Nice. So it was amazing.
Kisses, baby. See you. Bye, mom.
And don't forget, this episode is going to be on Spotify tomorrow.
Oh,
subscribe, leave a comment, follow us. See you next week, guys. Bye bye.
Bye bye.